Well, hello there, everybody. It's been a while since I've done a real one of these things. In fact, I even have a new chair now. Why haven't I gotten rid of this thing yet? I have a new chair. Hoy. Anyway, I'm Photo Dave, this is Toypixx, and we're not going to waste any more time beating around the bush. It is time to talk about the G.I. Joe Classified Retro Scarlett right now. Ladies and gentlemen, here she is. We have Shanna M. O'Hara, Scarlett from the G.I. Joe Classified Retro line, and I have to say, just the look of this figure sold me. The figures that were competing for my toy dollar when I saw her were Mutton Junkyard, Duke, and NECA's Baxter Stockman from the NECA Mirage Studios line. And very easily, Scarlett here won out. Just a really good look on this figure. I love the color combination. All the things that made the old school 80s Scarlett very cool. But something that I really love about her are the additional straps and the belt and all that stuff, just because it updates her. It doesn't make her all 80s all the time. And in case you haven't seen much of my stuff, I'm not the all 80s all the time kind of guy. Now, one thing that kind of hurt when it came to Scarlett, I thought, were her weapons. I thought they were crazy gummy. I didn't like it at all. And then I looked at my temperature inside the old castle, and it was 76 degrees. And then I realized, oh wait, it probably has nothing to do with the gumminess of the weapons at all, but everything to do with me trying to get the focus to work here, and the fact that it was actually 76 degrees. They're good-looking guns, I like them, and when you're not in a crazy hot environment, they're really not all that gummy. Here's the other one, a little more realistic looking. Very good stuff. I do enjoy the look of these guns. I have to say, I do prefer the Valaverse guns, just because they are more solid, but the color of this gun just goes really well with Scarlett. Man, tracking is hard. Anyway, looks good, right? I was also going to make a little bit of fun about the crossbow, but I think the crossbow's fine. I think it does good work. It comes in two pieces, and that's what I was going to make fun of. But the reason, I think, is see how thin that is back at the stock there? Like this area in here, I think that's why it came in two pieces, is because that half, oh come on camera, that half is a little gummier. So because it's a little gummier, they just don't want, I think they made it gummier so that it wouldn't snap. Good Lord. Guys, I swear, it hasn't been this long because I suck at the videos. I'm just trying this whole new cinematic view on the old camera, and it hates it. But anyway, this part back at the end here is gummier than the part up front. Not by a lot, but just enough so that we're hopefully not going to end up snapping it. And that, I think, is why it came in two pieces. So, again, I was going to rip on the crossbow, but crossbow's fine. And the arrow slides in. The back of the arrow drops in here, and then it just clips, so the arrow's pointing out the front ever so slightly here. Clearly, I'm having a hard enough time just trying to keep this thing in focus, so I'm not going to show you that, but it's easy to do. One more thing I was going to be good and annoyed about is the way that the ponytail plugs into the back of the head. But again, I think that just came down to me doing it when it was really hot in here. They're both, the hair and the ponytail are both a slightly softer plastic. Like they're both kind of close, and I think they do that so that you're not going to snap it so easily, which makes sense to me. It's kind of a pain to put in there, but it does go in, and if you're real careful, just make sure to be real careful, you can spin it a bit and get that ponytail exactly where you want it to be. It's not on a ball joint or anything, but you can turn it just a little so that you can make her head a little more dynamic depending on what the pose is you're trying to make her do. Now, one thing that is a much bigger pain in the butt than I wish it were is the stock on the knife, the handle here. It is tiny, and she's not going to hold on to that thing, no matter what I do. She's just not going to do it. So you're pretty much gonna have to keep that thing sheathed, which makes me sad because I like doing a lot of stuff. I like messing with all the parts and making them work. You can get it there eventually, but the handle is definitely too small. It's not something that we should be having to deal with when it comes to how bad that thing functions. Still, good looking knife. Now, I talked all over on the social media when I first got Scarlett about how I wish she were a little more functional, and this is one of those ways I wish it were so. That is the Action Force Warpath Eclipse on the right. Obviously, we've got Scarlett on the left, and look at how much more the Eclipse figure pushes forward at the waist, or bends forward at the waist, than Scarlett does. That bugs me. I think Scarlett should be a lot better, but that's something that happens with the classified female figures. For whatever reason, they just don't bend forward very well at the waist. They seem to bend okay at the diaphragm joint, but that waist really limits their articulation. Now, all that said, the most egregious thing when it comes to Scarlett and her functionality is the way that her boots were sculpted. The bottom of the feet here are sculpted so they're pointed up. Now, that is realistic, and that's how things work if you're not talking a plastic action figure. Scarlett's problem is because they're sculpted that way, she has a real tendency to fall forward. In fact, I'm kind of surprised that I was able to make it so that she was able to stand like I had her with Eclipse back there. But yeah, I wish that what they'd done here with the boots is just sculpt them so they were flatter. They did not do that, and that makes me sad, and that's one of the biggest things. That is the biggest thing that I would say is the negative when it comes to this figure. Now, one of my favorite things about Scarlett, and this was totally a happy accident, I had no idea that this was going to work, but the crossbow she comes with can be used for the Medicom MAFEX Huntress. Oops. Sorry, Scarlett, you should probably have flatter feet. But yeah, there it is. There it is in her hand. I was crazy excited when I figured that out. And since Huntress and Scarlett are out, here's a size comparison. And now, a size comparison between the G.I. Joe classified Scarlett, the Sarge, and the Man in Black. Here's Scarlett sized up against Action Force's Warpath Eclipse and Duster. And here we have Scarlett with Marvel Legends Black Widow and Marvel Legends Cowboy Logan. And now I'm thinking when MAFEX's Phoenix comes out, we're gonna need a redhead adventure. Here's Scarlett sized up with Jada Toys Street Fighter II Ultra, I think that's the name of the line, Chun-Li, and Ryu. Awesome line, folks. If you haven't gotten into Jada's stuff yet, do yourself a favor and do it. And now, because I can, here's Scarlett sized up with two wacky dudes. We have Jada Toys Chester Cheetah and the Star Wars Black Series Yub Nub Wicket. As for how photogenic Scarlett is when it comes to putting her under your lights and in front of your lens, I would say it would be nice if the gray were dulled down a little bit and if her hair were dulled down a little bit as well. You can see they're both pretty shiny. If they weren't, I would say she's perfect if you can get her to balance. And that's going to be the trick with Scarlett here. The form on this figure is remarkable. It's the function that I question, specifically when it comes to just getting her to stand. Now, I've been able to make it happen, but it takes longer than it should. So I guess you just kind of weigh that with whatever else you weigh when it comes to getting figures and make your decision. Oh, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I will tell you, though, that I'm glad I got her, and if something happened to her, I'd want to get a replacement. But I have to say, she might have to fight to, get her crossbow back. As you can see, I was able to get Scarlett in some poses for some photos, so I was kind of stoked about that. It's not that it's impossible to do, it's just that it's harder than it should be to do, which kind of drives me nuts. And it's all about the way that the boots were sculpted, so if those had just been flat, would have been better. And hey, here's a bunch of parts, and of course her, with the first family of G.I. Joe. So let me know in the comments, did you pick up this retro Scarlett? Did you dig her? And what other G.I. Joe classified figures are you looking forward to picking up in the coming months? Now, everything you saw in the video will be in the description below, so hey, if you saw something and you thought, that looks rad, get it. Because fun. Except maybe that Cowboy Logan. If MAFEX made a Cowboy Logan, I would totally drop that thing and get the MAFEX one right away. Because I am that guy. Now, until next time, everybody, thank you as always for stopping in. Have fun and happy snapping. See ya.